So it's Monday, June 3rd, week 5, day 1. And I just came in today. Had a bunch of other stuff to do, but I came in and fixed the bricks up there so that they can start curing and we can drill into them soon. And it's about 4:30 right now. And I picked up my SDS Plus drill bit I need. Did a little test hole right here without hammer mode. Went through just fine. I'll show you that drill real quick. So this is SDS Plus rotary hammer, Bosch Bulldog Extreme Max. Sounds pretty intense. It's the drill bit. This is the chuck. It's called the SDS Plus chuck. And this hammer drill, you can see, has drill mode, hammer and drill, rotate your bit, and hammer only. So it turns into like a mini jackhammer. But put this guy to work tomorrow. I think I'm gonna get as many of those holes drilled out as I can. And I got my mason coming to start the gables. He said he wants to do both of them in one day, so more power to him if he can get them all done. He's got to build those up so that they match the new slope of the roof that we're doing. And my metal guy came here this weekend and he drilled out these beams. Said he came Saturday and Sunday. They put all our clearance holes in here. He primed them. So that's good. They're pretty much ready to go up. I don't really like that he drilled these so close together. I'm just noticing this. So I guess it doesn't really make a difference. But no, we'll be good. It's okay. You know, I wish he had put the other holes like a few inches over, because we have a bolt going through the board right here, another bolt going down right here for the bottom packing, and this hole is for the web packing, but it should be alright. And then he said he'll have the metal posts ready either the end of Wednesday or by Wednesday, he said, but I told him I want this beam to go in this week and he seemed to think that wouldn't be a problem. So he made a good recommendation for us. He suggests we pack out all the wood onto these big beams before we put it up, and it will certainly make it a little easier working on it down here as opposed to climbing up on top of ladders. I mean, these things are going to be, the bottom of them is going to be a 12'2", so you know, that wouldn't be the easiest thing to do up on ladders, climbing up and down constantly. So now I didn't order enough of those 2x8s to do the inside web packing, so I think what I'm gonna do is put in my last order for lumber, well, the last major order for lumber tonight. I'll figure out how many more of those 2x8s. I think I just cut the order in half, so instead of having one board on the top, one on the bottom, two in the middle, and then times 120 feet or however long it was, I figured we were just going to do one on the top and one on the bottom. I wasn't thinking about the nailers for the garage doors, so I slashed the quantity in half on those 2x8s. So I got to get those. I'm going to order the big LVLs for the truss and the beam, and I think I'm gonna order the plywood for the roof decking. And I think that's, oh, and I need to get 2x10s for the rafter ties. I think those are like 24 footers. So figure that the quantities of those out tonight. But I've got these rafters here, the rest of the rafters over there, and that should be enough for the whole front of the building. And so all I need left is the rafter ties and the decking and the rest of the beam packing. So probably not going to get to the beam and the truss for, I don't know, a couple more weeks, but I'd rather just get it here. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna meet the mason here in the morning, get him going. I'm gonna probably try to bring one helper to help me get these holes drilled. It's not as simple as getting up there and holding the drill and start drilling, because the first thing we do is screw this thing in, center it, locate those holes exactly where they need to be, and then secure that off to the columns. So definitely helps to have somebody with me for that part. And last week we had a pretty bad storm. This plastic's been hanging down ever since in a couple spots, so I'm gonna get up there and fix that too. Probably move those rafters over there with those, and that's it. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow, and have a good night. So it's Wednesday, June 5th. That would be day 3 of week 5 in this job. And I didn't get too much done here today, but my mason was here. He built up both gable ends. Pretty good. He had started a little bit yesterday, but came and got them both done today. And my metal guy showed up again to finish priming the beams. I guess the bottoms weren't done. He also drilled out the splice pattern where two of the beams get bolted together. And so today I was kind of working on revamping my jig idea and making it beefier and stronger, but earlier in the day I couldn't get a hold of the engineer or the manager for the company we're working for, and so I was kind of twiddling my thumbs a little bit, and finally I just decided to go pick up a hole saw from Home Depot. It says it works in metal. Got some flat stock 3" by 3/16 by 3 feet, and started fabricating a new jig. It's not as thick of a metal plate as I intended originally, but I think it's thick enough to hold that bit steady without chewing up the metal. And making it out of 2x12s. So up here I did 2x4s upright, standing vertically, bolted to the beam, or bolted to the post rather, and then just a single 2x4 holding it up top. What I'm doing with the revamped jig is 2x12s bolted to the top of the post. They're going to stick up about 8 inches or so, and then I'm just making a beefier, fatter jig with metal on the top and bottom. I redid the other jig as well, the one that holds the threaded rods vertically while they set in the epoxy. And tomorrow's supposed to thunderstorm, so I'm gonna bring my stuff home, and I gotta stay home tomorrow anyway, and I'll work on them in my basement in the rain. But really what I'm leaning towards, and I talked to the manager about this later in the day, I'm leaning towards knocking these 2 posts completely down. I'm trying to convince them. I'm working on the price with the mason. The engineer is coming here Friday morning, so I'm gonna finish the second jig and I'm gonna try it out with him here and show him what the struggle is. But the biggest concern is how wobbly these posts are. I think clearly they're cracked on the bottom, and so they're easy to move, which isn't necessarily a problem when it's standing, but it's just not right. So the big consideration for us is, if we do go down that route, what do we know about these footings underground, and if that's gonna be an issue with the building department. Does the engineer, like, if we decide to knock these posts down, then do we have to necessarily redo the footings? Because that wouldn't be worth it, probably. That would add a lot of time and cost to the job that isn't necessarily benefiting us. So that's where we're standing. Honestly, I'd rather just knock them down, rebuild them, and then in that case we would just build it all the way up to the height we need on all of them and throw the beam right across the top of the masonry. It'd be rebuilt with rebar. The cinder block would get filled with rebar and concrete. It would be much stronger, and I would feel better with that build. But did manage to get the rest of the plastic fixed. That stuff's been hanging down for a week now, and it's been driving me nuts. And that's it. I'm gonna go home now. It's been a long day, even though I didn't do all that much. It's 7 o'clock right now, and I gotta get home. So I will be back tomorrow. Just gotta do a couple more things to clean up here, get ready for the storm tomorrow, and that's it. I will be back soon. Have a good night. Well, it's Friday, June 7th, 2024, and not too much happened here all this week. There wasn't too much progress because we kept having issues drilling our anchor holes, getting them plumb and evenly spaced. I know I talked about this the other day. I did try to make a new jig, and it's up there right now. I guess I'll climb up real quick and show. But that's what it looks like. There's 2 parts again, same idea, just a lot bigger and stronger than the last one. Now, the problem we had with that 4th hole is that there's a big void in the concrete. This is one of the new posts that got replaced, and it's got block filled with concrete, which is better than brick, but there's a big void and it knocked the drill bit at an angle, and the jig didn't quite hold it straight. I mean, this thing is way stronger than the other one I was using over there, but still didn't quite do it. I'm giving myself the option to continue this path next week. So the hole that went at an angle because of the void up there, I filled it with some mortar, and I'm gonna let that cure over the weekend. Might come in and keep trying the rest of these with the new jig next week, but depends on what other work we have going on. We're leaning towards putting masonry, block and brick up top of these to build up the height. I got the engineer to sign off on that. They might want these brick posts that are original to the building, they might want those replaced, so we're working on that angle as well. But kind of a disappointing week for our progress, but I'm okay with that because we are potentially changing the plan again, which is normal. This happens all the time. But we're still going to be ahead of our original schedule with the 2 phases, but we're going to be set back. If we decide we're doing this masonry work over, we have to wait for our mason to be available, which is another week or so, and then so the beam wouldn't go in until that's all done, so probably the week after. But Anyway, I did a lot of footage this week of my work on setting these anchor holes, and I will get that video up eventually. If we don't do the anchors anymore and we go with the masonry, I probably have all the footage that completes that video. If I decide to keep going with these anchor holes and give it another try next week, I'll be filming some more. But this week's video is going to be a lot shorter, which is fine. Nothing happened yesterday and nothing happened Monday. So out of the 3 days we were here this week, it was just me and by myself one of those days, and I think I had a helper 2 of those days, including today. So anyway, I'm gonna put this video again together this weekend, and that's it for now. I'll be back here next week, so have a good weekend.